like to thank all of you for coming out today to participate in the World War II veteran pin presentation. These pins mark the 75th anniversary of Canada's engagement in the Second World War. In 2015, the federal government issued special commemorative lapel pins and certificates to veterans that served in World War II. The design on these pins is based on the original Victory nickel. It features a flaming torch and a large V, which stands both for the Victory and the coin's denomination. These pins are a chance to recognize the selfless acts of heroism, courage, and loyalty which all our veterans embody. In 2015, I presented 35 pins to veterans within my riding of Dufferin-Caledon. Today, we're recognizing the contributions of 10 veterans that are currently living here in Montgomery Village and who received their pins earlier by mail.
On behalf of Colonel Fitzgerald Branch 233 Orangeville, thank you again for having us here. You've had us here for 2 remembrance services, and it's an honor and a privilege with some of my senior veterans also here today for this occasion. Now, I did have a chance to speak to some of the veterans, most of the veterans that are here, and I'm just going to do a brief little to-do of what they did in the service, and then I'll have them stand up. So we have John Broom, CD. Sir, if you could please stand. He was a musician corporal. Service number is B598645. And the reason why I'm saying the service number is this is something that you will never forget. If you've ever been in the armed forces, this is something that stays with you for life. He had a grand total of 35 years of total service, so 18 years volunteer service and 16 years regular services with the Royal Canadian Corps of Signals. He was a bandsman, he was a bass horn player, and was a music corporal. And right there, yep. Then we have Dennis Lambert. If you would please stand up, sir. He is with the Royal Army Service Corps. He was a private first class. The service number is T227457115. He served with the Toronto Scottish Regiment at the Fort York Armories in 1955. Sir, thank you for serving. So we have Alan McDougall, sir, will you please stand? He's with the Royal Canadian Air Force. He was an Air Craftsman First Class. Service number is R284845. He was an elementary in flight training for air crew. Thank you for serving, sir. And then we have Cecil Rowe. Please stand if you could, sir. Was with the Canadian Army. Service number is B98131 with the 1st CRLU, which is a Canadian Radio Location Unit. 2 years as a gunner overlooking the cliffs of Dover. He's a member of the Royal Canadian Legion for 67 years. Thank you, sir, for your service. And then we have Gordon Smith, sir, if you please stand. Royal Canadian Air Force, 1942-45, was a flight sergeant, was a wireless and air gunner. Service number R193731. He is with the 419 Squadron and then served with the 405 Pathfinder Squadron. 56 flights to Europe and nighttime raids with the infamous Lancaster bomber. Thank you very much for your service. Ron Stoughton. This guy's an interesting life. With the Royal Air Force, he was a leading air craftsman. Service number is 1660537. He served with the Chain Home Service with the number 350 Mobile Radar Unit as a ground approach controller for bad weather in England. He was attached with the Americans and went to Omaha Beach on D-Day, if I'm right. So just like Fred, we have another World War II veteran here. He served on Juno the same day. So he's one of our boys. He's a ninth, though. Okay. Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for your service. Al Thompson. Royal Canadian Air Force, the service number is R276056. He was a sergeant, but he was a trainee as an air crew for a pilot or an air gunner in Mont-Joli in Quebec during World War II. Thank you for your service.
While we're here today, I thought we'd take this opportunity to recognize another veteran who resides here, Stanley Michelow, who is seated on the end. And a while back, Mr. Michelow's attention was drawn to my attention by our dearly late friend, Keith Hunter. And it's terribly sad that Keith has missed out on this today, because it was truly because of his initiative that we're making this presentation. And thank you, Joan. Stand up, Joan, for joining us here this morning. You all know Joan. So Keith had explained to me that Stanley was no longer in possession of his service medals, and so I gather this was due to a terrible mix-up during his move here to Orangeville. So after working with Veterans Affairs and along with the president of the Orangeville Legion, I'm happy to present Stanley with these two freshly minted and newly mounted medals. And I'm going to have Chris present them. Do we have them here? You have them. The first medal is the War Medal, which was awarded for 28 days service between September 3rd, 1939 and September 2nd, 1945, to full-time personnel of the armed forces, wherever these services had been rendered. The second medal is the Canadian Volunteer Service Medal, which was granted to persons of any rank in the naval, military, or air forces of Canada who have voluntarily served on active service and have honorably completed 18 months, 540 days total voluntary service from September 3rd, 1939 to March 1st, 1947. And as well as his new medals, we're also pleased to present the World War II commemorative pin, which Stanley had not yet been awarded. Your recognition certificate from the Veterans Affairs is in the mail. You'll get it eventually, I hope. So my sincere congratulations and thank you to Stanley. So Chris, if you could present those medals to him.